Hello. For this video, we will be talking about the exponential distribution and why we use the exponential distribution to model queuing theory problems. The exponential distribution is described by this probability density function. F of t is equal to alpha e raised to negative alpha t for t is greater than or equal to 0, and f of t is equal to 0 for t is less than 0. And if you go back to your probability class, the expected value of an exponential distribution is with parameter alpha is equal to 1 over alpha, and the variance is 1 over alpha squared. Now, before we continue, let me first describe to you what kind of queuing problems we will be dealing with in this module. There are a lot of queuing problems, but the most common queuing problem that we will deal with are the queuing systems where their arrival, the arrival of customers is in quotation mark random. In the same manner, the service time is also random. Now, um, one maybe relatable example for this kind of problem where the problem exhibits randomness in the arrival and the service time is, for example, your regular Jollibee store. Uh, if you own a Jollibee store, or at the very least, if you try to observe a Jollibee store, you will be able to notice in the long run, in general, how many people actually arrive in your store, no, uh, per for example per hour. Okay. However, even if you have this parameter of the parameter arrival rate, and let's say the arrival rate is 60 per hour, this parameter is just a general average. No, it doesn't take into consideration that there will be times when, especially during peak time, where your arrival rate will be significantly higher, and during off-peak times, your arrival rate will be significantly lower. Okay, and this arrival rate of, let's say, 60 per hour is just a general uh, rate of arrival into your queuing system. Now, given this, what we'd like to do is we'd like to explain why the exponential distribution is the best distribution to describe this randomness. Okay? And in the next few slides, I will be showing you the possible reasons and the implications of using the exponential distribution to model such random behavior. Okay, so let me go to the first property. Given the exponential distribution f of t, if you remember the graph of f of t, it is a decreasing graph. Okay, so what does this property entail? If your probability distribution is decreasing, then mathematically, the probability that your random variable t is between 0 and some delta t, okay? And in this case, the probability between 0 to delta t is designated as the blue A, the blue shaded area A, okay? And A is greater than or equal to the probability of the same random variable t, but between t and t plus delta t. And this second probability is designated by or noted by the red shaded area. Now, if you look at this mathematical equation or inequality, I'd like to note that the interval between the two probabilities, no, well, in this case, if you look at the first probability interval, the interval has a range of delta t. Okay? So this is delta t. In the same way, this interval also has a length of delta t, except that the starting point of the second probability is at some small letter t. Okay? Now, because the exponential distribution is decreasing, then that what does that mean? Given the same interval delta t, okay, essentially what we're saying is A is bigger than B. Now, what is the implication of this? Let me go to my notepad. So given the exponential distribution, and again the graph is decreasing, and let us say this is your A, okay, and let's say this is your B. As you can see, the interval is the same, and again, let's say the interval is delta t. Now, uh, the the expected value of your exponential distribution is some value 1 over alpha. And let's say your 1 over alpha is here. So why is it that if your exponential distribution is decreasing, and in this case, this is your shaded area A, and this is your shaded area B, why is it that the exponential distribution is a good distribution to model randomness? Now, let me explain. If the expected value of your random variable t, and let's say in this case, let's say 1 over alpha is, let's say, 30 minutes. So what does this 30 minutes mean? This means that if this were the expected value of your interarrival time, then expectedly, or you can expect on the average that um, that between two arrivals, the time between the two arrivals is 30 minutes. Or consequently, no, consequently, your alpha is equal to 2 per hour. Okay? However, when we say that the inter-arrival time is 30 minutes or the arrival rate is 2 per hour, we do not exactly mean that um, this value is constant. It doesn't mean that surely the next customer will arrive after 30 minutes. This is just an expected value, and the 30 minutes here is an average. It's a weighted average. Now, sometimes the value can be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, but sometimes, no, pwedeng malasin, your next arrival is after 3 hours, for example. But in general, the average inter-arrival time in this case is 30 minutes. So why is it that the best distribution to use or to model this behavior is exponential? This is because if you look at A, the probability of A in this case is bigger than B, as we've noted there, okay? And that this is a good um, this is a good way to model the randomness of your arrival or your exponential distribution, because if your average is 1 over alpha, then it is more likely that your inter-arrival time is in this area, okay, than in this area. Diba? If your average inter-arrival time is 30 minutes, then it is more likely that your inter-arrival will be somewhere between 0 and let's say 20, no? So parang on the average mas madalas na yung inter-arrival time is 0 to 20. However, it is also possible, but with less probability, no? But with less probability that your inter-arrival is some, let's say, uh sorry, in this case is greater than, let's say, 60 minutes. Okay? So if your expected inter-arrival time is 30 minutes, then more often than not, your inter-arrival time will be some smaller value, but there will be cases wherein your inter-arrival time will be bigger. However, in terms of probability, the probability that this will happen, no, the probability that this will happen is greater than the probability that this will happen. And no other probability distribution or density function can mimic that scenario. Property number two, the exponential distribution lacks memory, or the lack of memory property of the exponential distribution. Mathematically, the lack of memory can be described by this probability equation function. The probability that your random variable t is greater than some value t plus delta t, given that the random variable t is greater than delta t already, no, is essentially equal to the probability of the random variable t is greater than some value small t. Now, I think it is easier to understand this property by giving you a specific example. So, for example, the last arrival in your queuing system came in at 8 a.m. No? And let's say right now it is already 8:15 a.m. So between 8 a.m. and 8:15 a.m., no one came in. And you are asking what is the probability that the next arrival, no, will happen after 8 a.m. So in this case, we can model this example where delta t is 15 minutes, no? So that's your 8:15 a.m. minus 8 a.m. So that gives you 15 minutes. And your small t, in this case, is 5 minutes. Why 5 minutes? Because that's your 8:20 minus 8:15 a.m. Okay? And mathematically, if we do this, then what we are saying is that the probability that your random variable, no, that your random variable t is greater than 5 plus 15, given that 15 minutes has already passed, is essentially equal to the probability that the random variable is greater than 5. And what does this mean? This means that given that your probability function is exponential, it forgets this part of the equation. No? Kinakalimutan. Kinakalimutan na yung nangyari before. What happened before? That between 8 a.m. to 8:15, no one came. And therefore, if you want to know the probability that the next customer will arrive after 8:20, for example, in this case, then all you have to do is consider the 5 minutes that will happen between the time now, which is 8:15, and the time concerned, which is 8:20. Property number three. Property number three states that the minimum of several independent exponential random variable is also exponential. So mathematically, what does this mean? So let T1, T2, T3 until Tn be independent random variables with parameters alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha 3 until alpha n. So what you have here are n independent exponential random variables, no, with parameters alpha 1 until alpha n. Now, we will let u be equal to the minimum of the random variables. No? So you have n random variables, and then the random variable u represents the smallest, yung pinakamaliit. This property tells us that u is exponentially distributed with parameter alpha sub u, and in this case, alpha sub u is just the sum of the n alpha parameters. Now, what does this mean? Let me give you an example. Let's say, let's say we have a soda vending machine. Okay, and remember, in the soda vending machine, you have different kinds of drinks possible, no? And let's say the drinks are Coke, Sprite, Royal, and let's say, just for simplicity, water. Okay, and let's say the arrival rate of customers who want Coke is 10 per hour, and let's say the arrival rate of customers who want Sprite is 5 per hour, and then for Royal it's, let's say 8 per hour, and then water is 7 per hour. Okay, so individually, so you have this drink vending machine, no, with Coke, Sprite, Royal, and water, and you have a person, let's say, manning this vending machine. Okay, now, individually speaking, if we want to determine on the average the inter-arrival time between two Coke customers, no, or two customers who want Coke, then the average inter-arrival time is 1 over 10 hours, no, or 6 minutes. Because this is your alpha, and therefore the expected value is 1 over alpha. Okay, in the same manner, 1 over alpha here is 1 over 5, or 12 minutes. This one is 1 over 8, or in this case 60 over 8, which is 30 over 4, that's 7.5 minutes. And then finally, this is 1 over 7, or in this case 60 over 7 minutes. Okay? But these expected values, no, these expected inter-arrival times are independent of each other, meaning the 6 minutes here pertain to two Coke customers, no, two arrivals um, of uh, two arrivals of customers who would like to order a Coke. No, this 12 minutes are pertain to two uh, Sprite customers. Itong 7.5 are pertain to two Royal customers, etc. Okay? But what if we want to know the average inter-arrival time of two customers, and in this case we don't care what kind of customer it is, no, whether it's Coke, Sprite, Royal, or water. What is the average inter-arrival time of two generic customers? Now, in this case, the next customer, no, the next customer can be modeled as the minimum of the next Coke customer, next Sprite customer, until next water customer. Okay? And as you can see, the next customer is actually the minimum of your several random variables. So in this example, if you have your t1 until t sub n independent random variables, then this is your t1, this is your t2, this is your t3, and this is your t4. And in this case, the next customer u is equal to the minimum of T1, T2, T3, and T4. And according to the slide, if T1 until Tn are independent exponentially distributed random variables, then the minimum is also exponentially distributed. Therefore, U is exponentially distributed with parameter, in this case, alpha sub u equals, you just get the sum of the individual parameters of the n random variables. So you just have to get the sum. In this case, it's 10 plus 5 plus 8, that's 23, 30. Okay? And because the parameter of the random variable u is equal to 30, then the the expected value, no? The expected value is equal to 1 over alpha sub u, which is equal to 1 over 30. Or, in this case, 2 minutes. So what does that mean? If you lay out all the arrivals of the different customers into this vending machine, okay, no, and we don't care about the kind of customer they are, then on the average, there will be one customer every 2 minutes. Property number 4 shows the relationship between the exponential distribution and the Poisson distribution. If the time between two occurrences or the inter-occurrence time of an event is exponential, then the number of occurrences of the event per some unit time is Poisson. So what is the implication here? Very simple. If the random variable big letter x is the number of occurrences, then the probability, no, the probability that the number of occurrences is some value small x, given that your average occurrence rate is alpha, and given the time interval small t, is equal to the Poisson distribution. And what is the Poisson distribution? It's alpha t raised to x e raised to negative alpha t over x factorial. Okay? Which means if the inter-arrival time is exponential, and in this case, arrival is the occurrence, therefore, the number of arrivals, okay? So the number of probability that the number of arrivals given given your arrival rate and some time period t is equal to this Poisson distribution. Okay, so this is your lambda t raised to x e raised to negative lambda t over x factorial. And this is if the occurrence is your arrival. However, if your occurrence is service completion, meaning may customer na natapos ma-serve. So service completion. Then the probability that the number of served customers given the same in this case mu sub n comma t, okay, has the same distribution function, which is your Poisson distribution. So this is mu sub n t raised to x e raised to negative mu sub n t over x factorial. We will be skipping property number 5 and move on to property number 6. Property number 6 states that the exponential distribution is unaffected by aggregation and disaggregation. Now, there are two parts to this property. Property number 1 pertains to aggregation, and this coincides with property number 3, where if there are multiple kinds of customers or multiple random exponential random variables, then all you have to do is to or if you want to aggregate, combine all the random variables together or get the minimum, then all you have to do is aggregate your parameter alpha. On the other hand, for part number two, we talk about disaggregation. And disaggregation is from one whole thing, you are tearing it into different parts. Okay? So for part number two, disaggregation, this applies to the following scenario. What if the customers arriving in a system can be distinguished from each other? Then, splitting the system based on the kind of customers will still result to different queuing systems with exponential arrivals. I think the best way to explain, especially part number two, is via an example. Okay? So let me go to my notepad again. And for this example, let's say I am dealing with the South Luzon Expressway. And if you are familiar with the South Luzon Expressway, and let me simplify it a bit, no, there are generally two kinds of toll booths. No, we have the what do you call this, RFID lane, and we have the cash lane. Okay, and because the road, the South Luzon Expressway is a single road. Therefore, what we can actually know, or what we the data that we actually have is a single homogeneous arrival rate. And let's say the arrival rate is 1,000 cars per hour. So you can expect in SLEX, no, 1,000 cars to arrive at a particular toll booth, no, where you have two different kinds of cashiers or tellers in this case to enter. And let's say, according to historical information or according to historical data, let's say only 10% of users use RFID and the rest use cash. Because the arrival is homogeneous, meaning the road is not split, no, into the two different roads. One road using is for cars using the RFID, and the other road are for cars using cash. No, then technically speaking, the cars will only split at the what do you call this, at the toll booth. And because there will be a split in line at the toll booth, then technically we can split this queuing system into two. So the question now is, how do we know, or how do we now model the cars that will enter the RFID queuing system and the cash queuing system? In this case, because this arrival rate is exponential, the random variable inter-arrival time is exponentially distributed. Therefore, according to property number 6, we can disaggregate this, meaning we can split this lambda into the lambda for RFID, and in this case, the lambda for RFID is just 10% of 1,000, which is 100, no, per hour, and to get the lambda for cash as well, which is in this case 900 per hour. Now that we've split the arrival rate into the arrival rate for RFID and cash, then we can now treat the two queuing systems separately and perform calculations on each one of them separately. Okay? Property number 6 also has something to do with bulking. What do we mean by bulking? So let's say you have cashiers, no? Let's say you have three cashiers. And let's say the arrival rate is 100 per hour. But let's say according to surveys and interviews, let's say the bulking rate, or the rate at which customers, or percent of customers that will not enter the system because they feel that the line is already too long. And let's say is a simple 10%. Of course, it's not as simple as this, but for simplicity, let's say the bulking is 10% probability. So what does that mean? Then we can look at this queuing system, no, this queuing system, and split it in actually into two queuing systems. What are the two queuing systems? First is this queuing system with the three cashiers, and 90% of the people arrive, and therefore the actual arrival rate is 90 per hour because that's 90% of 100. And what happens to this queuing system? And let me note that this queuing system is the queuing system where the 10% will balk. And because these customers are going to balk, then they will actually exit or never even never enter the queuing system. Therefore, the arrival rate, sorry, not alpha, but lambda, the arrival rate for this for bulkers is equal to 10 per hour. And because these customers bulk, no bulk, then we don't need to consider them anymore. Therefore, effectively, if you have a queuing system with an arrival rate of 100 per hour, but with a bulking probability of 10%, then property number 6 states that all you have to do is remove the bulkers and retain the actual customers who will enter the system.